At a point in time and at a point in space, life evolved on Earth, and it took roots on its barren crust. Plants learned to manipulate sunlight and air to grow and to multiply. As plants thrived, they dug their roots deep into the crust and gave it life, forming the 10 to 50 centimeters of the ground called Earth that allow life to live, animals to survive, and evolve into humans. Man quickly learned to make his very own rocks. Some say man is like a virus and will one day kill its host planet Earth, which gave it life. Others say humans are sperms of planet Earth. Just like plants ejaculate their seeds and animals ejaculate their sperm, one day man will ejaculate himself far away from Earth and go to another part of the universe to replicate Earth and her nature. As I was contemplating, the Earth suddenly shook. Before I knew it, I was being pushed under deeper and deeper into the magma I remember waking up in. Earth was hit by a comet, and just at the place where I was meditating. I melted in the warmth of my bed, and before going to sleep, wondered what kind of rocks I will be tomorrow. Will I be pumice in some human's bathtub scraping the feet of a beautiful human? Or part of a glass she's drinking from? Or part of her kitchen tabletop? Or perhaps even a small part of the silicone in her breast? As she was dozing off to sleep, she dreamt she was back in the magma from where she came, covered and entrapped in it by a layer of rock called the ocean floor. She was relieved to know that ocean was on top, keeping the crust from melting, allowing both life to thrive on top and fire to burn below. Continents of land floated over the crust like rafts drifting on a lake. Like floating driftwood, they drifted until stopped. When stopped, weather watered it from above so that life could take root from the tops of mountains to the bottom of oceans. A tree grew and embraced a rock so tightly that when hit by a lightning, it was dislodged with the rock. Time freed the jagged rock from the tight grip of the tree, and it landed in a river that was flowing to the oceans far, far away. Water entered its cracks, froze into ice, expanded, and pried the cracks open, breaking the rock into small enough pieces to be carried down by the water. As the rocks rolled down to the ocean, boulders broke into scree and into smaller and smaller pieces like sand. Rocks of all sizes collected on the ocean beaches and were polished into pebbles, ground and pulverized by the waves into silt and clay, and carried out by the tides to cover the ocean floor. The sediments formed layers that could be read millions of years later like chapters in the Earth's record book. When sand layers were pressed by the weight of the water and the weight of accumulating sediment, they turned into sandstone. The mountains washed down to the ocean, and the sand mingled with the life there, and they found themselves bonded in bed together. A volcano erupted in celebration. Magna broke out of the crust as if to witness and give warmth to this bonding of life and sand called limestone. Volcanoes erupted and ejaculated magma like they were seeds in squirts that cooled into sponge rock called pumice. As if giving birth, so much magma flowed out that it covered up the volcanoes and stopped their flow. The rocks they formed cooled off fast and had a very fine crystal, making them dense rocks called basalts. Most of the land was covered by a thin layer of sand, which united with life to form humus. Humus, the rock plants grow in, is a sponge soaked with life. When soaked with water, humus forms lakes in hollows even on tops of mountains. Silt was pressed together into slate and carved into durable roofs. Limestone was pressed together into marble and carved into beautiful statues. Magma, unable to flow out, cooled slowly within the volcano into grainy rocks called granite. The lighter granite gradually displaced the heavier basalt and escaped the confines of the volcano to float and to form the land called continents. A granite deep under the earth, with time, floated up to its freedom and raised layers of lighter sedimentary rock that were resting on it like logs. This upheaval gradually drained the ocean above it dry. A bed of rock called salt was left behind. It was the accumulation of all the salts washed down from the mountains that were washed down into the ocean. Life, buried underground, decomposed into a soft black oil called petroleum. Other life decomposed into a soft black rock called coal, which when cooked and rolled deep in the ovens of the earth turned into a hard white rock called diamonds. A mountain broke through that was once an ocean. Then it started to snow. The snow covered the land until just the peak of the mountain was visible. The pressure of the snow turned the snow into a flowing ice called a glacier. The glacier moved like an amoeba and carved the land like an artist, grounding the rocks underneath into sand and silt. When the glaciers finally melted, the rocks from the crumbling mountains that fell on top of them accumulated into hills and were left behind as moraines that soon sprouted with life.